Hi, everyone. We are back with another question and answer from Dr. Hart himself. Dr. Hart is the founder, president, and trainer of trainers at the Biocybernaut Institute. Dr. Hart, thank you so much for being back with us.
Always a delight to be with you, Doug.
These are so much fun. So Dr. Hart, I'm going to cherry pick another question straight out of our private alumni group here. And this question here is from Kat. And Kat is wondering if the Biocybernaut training works for people who've had a traumatic brain injury.
Simple answer, yes, it does. Post-traumatic stress disorder and TBI, traumatic brain injury, are all well within the scope of what we do at Biocybernaut. And so let me describe a mechanism. One type of brain injury, of course, is a stroke. There are other types, impacts to the head, all of which bruise or damage the brain and break blood vessels. And so typically, and we haven't done any formal studies on this, but we've had over the years 5 or 6 people come who have had serious strokes. One woman was pretty much paralyzed on her left upper side. The left half of her face, her left arm, and hands were pretty much useless. And most disturbing to her husband, who brought her every day for the 7 days of the training, most disturbing for him was that she no longer knew who he was. She had lost her memory. So it takes special care and consideration to work with people like that. They need a lot of hands-on coaching, and you can't read instructions to them, and so they're challenging to work with, and almost can't be in a group. They need to be individualized, and so in the course of her training, starting with on day 4, when her husband came to pick her up at the end of the day, she spoke to him and talked about things in their life, in their marriage, and he was jaw-dropping, eye-popping, astonished. And this got better every day, so sometimes they were so happy to be able to talk again that when he would come to the lab to pick her up, they would sit and just talk for over an hour before they would even think of leaving. And so the mechanism is very interesting. And this is, of course, a hypothesis, hypothetical. But we know, for example, that hand temperature biofeedback can raise the hand temperature, finger temperature, foot temperature, and it's a known cure for Raynaud's disease. Raynaud's disease used to be dealt with by allopathic doctors by amputating the fingers and the toes to get rid of the severe pain that people with Raynaud's disease were feeling. They had reduced circulation to the fingers and toes. They turned blue and they caused intense pain, so bad that many people were willing to have their doctors amputate their fingers and their toes so the pain would go away. Yes, it's more than throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And so along comes, and this is many years ago, hand temperature biofeedback. And so they could be accompanied by autogenic phrases like, my fingers are heavy and warm. My hands are heavy and warm. Or you imagine you're lying in hot sand on a beach at noon and beautiful waves rolling in. And so what happens is people learn at some point how to dilate the blood vessels that feed their hands and feet. And the warm blood flows out from the core and the Raynaud's disease symptoms simply go away. Learned peripheral vasodilation through hand temperature biofeedback is a cure for Raynaud's disease. You don't have to have your fingers and toes amputated anymore. You just do a little thermal biofeedback. Big improvement. Time, cost, pain. your mobility afterwards, all improved by hand temperature biofeedback. Now, we know that there is a part of learning control of alpha that involves a learned cerebrovasodilation. Raynaud's disease, hand temperature warming, is peripheral vasodilation. And one of the parts of learning to increase alpha is a learned cerebrovasodilation. And so this is a sufficient and very simple mechanism to explain the effects in overcoming stroke damage or generalized damage from a traumatic brain injury. Because in the region of an infarct, you have neurons that have died. They've been cut off from blood, glucose, oxygen, they just died. Others in the vicinity have gone dormant. They're not dead, but they're not getting enough glucose and oxygen to do their neuron thing. And so they're there, potentially available if the blood flow could be increased. Dun-dun-dun-dun, here comes alpha training and a learned cerebrovasodilation. And a lot of those dormant neurons will switch back on. And so you have restoration of function from the stroke, from the TBI. And one of the most dramatic examples of this is when there's a certain way that people pop. Popping is when somebody who's been inching up little by little, alpha more every day, all of a sudden, boom, they will jump, huge amounts of alpha, much bigger. And sometimes when these people come out of the chamber, we see that they have what we call an alpha tan. They look like they've come back from 2 weeks in Barbados because the brain, which has been, responding to the brainwave feedback, has all of a sudden figured out how to command more blood. Okay, we want more blood up here. And when it first pops, it goes not just to the inside of the skull, but to the outside of the skull. And so the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, the lips, the chin, the neck, all turn a ruddy, beautiful color, healthy. Now, over time, the brain figures out, well, to get more blood to the brain, we don't have to send it to the face. And so the alpha tan is not an ongoing phenomenon, but the increased alpha, because of, among other things, increased blood flow within the brain, is an ongoing benefit to the people. And this has, it's a possible explanation for the benefits that we see with stroke and traumatic brain injury.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Once again, as always, Kat, we'll get this to you and the rest of the alumni. Guys, if you have questions for Dr. Hart himself, please go over to the alumni group and submit those. Of course, you can always email me as well, and I can get those to Dr. Hart.
You'll track me down.
I will. I always do. No, we always have a good time. Dr. Hart, thank you so much for all that you've done and all that you continue to do and taking time to be with us.
Thank you, Doug.
Hi, I'm Tony Robbins. Listen, if you are looking to improve your brain, your psyche, your ability, your emotions, your ability to really maximize your performance, and you want to really dig into your brain, my dear friend, Dr. Jim Hart, and his Biocybernaut program is extraordinary. I've been through it myself. My wife Sage has, members of my family have, and we found it to be truly extraordinary. But it is not for the faint at heart. Unless you're dead serious about really taking things to the next level, don't bother. We went through the Alpha program designed to maximize your ability to create alpha waves. And it was challenging and it was incredibly rewarding. And I'd recommend it to anybody serious about improving the quality of their lives or including the quality of their family lives as well. So check out Cybernaut, check out Dr. Jim Hart. And if you do, I think you'll be really, really pleased.
And the entire time you are learning to think and how you think these electrodes create sounds. And you learn how to put yourself in the zone of alpha. But it's a bitch. It's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that wants easy experiences, but I'd recommend it to anybody that wants to grow immensely. And by the first day, I'm like, who do I got to shoot to get out of this thing? Oh, it's me. I'm the one that did this shit. Right? But by the end of the week, all three of us were able to go into this state of alpha. And if you're familiar with alpha, the best way I can describe alpha is there's no problem that can't be solved in alpha. Because every problem that we have was created by us.
Thank you for being here and absorbing this information about the science of brainwaves and about the stories of people whose lives have been beneficially altered, improved by doing brainwave training at Biocybernaut. And now I'm reaching out to you to invite you to come and be a part of the Biocybernaut adventure. Biocybernauts are to inner space what astronauts are to outer space. So come and adventure with us. And if you'd like to leave a comment on the videos, you can do that, or there's a link you can click if you'd like to learn more. We welcome you to Biocybernaut.